Well, hello everybody. It's Dr. Carmen Bryan, and this is Car Chronicles. How you guys doing? Long time no see. You guys ready? Well, let's do this. So listen, I talk about this, and I've talked about this in other videos. I've talked about this with people, but I wanted to talk for a minute about learned helplessness. A lot of you guys grew up in families where you have been abused, misused, repeatedly rejected, neglected. You know, some people have been through some horrific type of child abuse when they were young. And even if there wasn't physical abuse, a lot of you also went through the mental abuse, feeling less than, it's horrible. And because you were a child, for many people, because you were a child, you got to a point where you felt like you can never end this. There's nowhere to go. I don't have anywhere to go. You're too young to go get a job. You can't live anywhere else. And so you have this learned helplessness. It's also called learned optimism, where you go through this stress and you go through what you're going through, but it seems like there's no end to it. There's no way out of it. Even when there is finally an opportunity presented to you, you stop trying. And this all came from an experiment, I think back in 1967 time period, where there were researchers, psychologists that did experiments on some dogs. And they put them in these cages where the bottom of the cage, they shocked the cage. And so these dogs, they had the opportunity to jump out. Some of the dogs were able to jump out. Some of the dogs did not jump out. They weren't able to jump out of the cage. And so what ended up happening was, and I'm probably adding and taking away a little bit, but the gist of the story is, eventually when the dogs realized that they couldn't get out of the cage, they just stood there and took the shock. Even when the opportunity became available for them to get out of the cage, they had already learned the helplessness. In other words, they gave up trying. They had no motivation. Anxiety and depression, for many of you guys, that anxiety, that depression. So guess what? When you got older and you got into these situationships with these narcissists, it seemed like you had nowhere to go. You've got kids. You don't have a job. If you were in a situation where you had a job, but you didn't have enough to be able to sustain yourself, you didn't have anywhere to go, you didn't have family to support you, because maybe you got into the situationship to get away from the family, but you got into something even worse. Maybe you've gotten older, maybe you've gotten disabilities. I don't have the finances to sustain myself or support myself. There is help out there. But what has happened is you gave up. There's no more motivation. You're depressed, you're anxious, and you can tell by the things that are coming out of your mouth. Think about it. With that narcissists are very negative individuals, very negative people, and you can't stand it. You don't like it. But the problem is that you've been in a situation so long that you have picked up on their language. You have become just as negative as them. And you didn't see any hope, or you don't see any hope. It just so happened for some of you guys, the narcissist eventually left and you're heartbroken. Some of you finally did leave. But you haven't, those narcissistic fleas. You still have those narcissistic fleas, because everything that comes out of your mouth is negative. Very, very negative. And the average person doesn't like to be around negative people. And you wonder, you add on to what you have gone through, and your assumption is that, people just don't like me. People don't want to be around me. No, you're negative. Everything that comes out of your mouth is negative. It's that woe is me, and this is what happened. And some people that you're talking to been through the same thing that you've been through. Maybe not exactly the same thing, but has been through some of the same things that you've been through. But there are some people that are so negative. It doesn't matter what you say to them to try to encourage them. They fight your encouragement. Like, no matter what it is that someone says to you to tell you that you can get better, a lot of people want to be in that woe is me, because that's when you get attention. It's that attention-seeking behavior. Unfortunately, it's that attention-seeking behavior where you want people to pay attention to you and your pain. So everything is woe is me, and no matter what a person says to you, they'll give you a way out. They'll give you instructions. They'll give you, because you have to do the work. I hate to tell you this. There are some people that come to therapy and they expect the therapist or the coach to do the work. They expect you to fix the situation. I've had people come and tell me, this is what is going on. How do I make this person change? And when I tell them there's nothing you can do to make a person change, they'll let me know, well, I think I'm just going to end therapy now. And you need to. Because I'm not the person that you need to come to figure out how to change the person that is abusing you or misusing you. Or some of them will let me know up front. I'm not coming to you to help me get out of the relationship. I'm coming to you to teach me how to manage in the relationship. Well, if you're being abused by a narcissist, if you're being abused or misused, then I'm not the therapist you want to come to. I am not the professional that you want to talk to, because I'm not going to help you stay in a situation that is killing you from the inside out. And there are some people that don't want your help. They want to know how to change the person that they are with. They want to know how to change the narcissist. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing you can do to change a person that doesn't want to change and doesn't see anything wrong with themselves. They see something wrong with everybody else, but they don't see anything wrong with themselves. But there comes a point in time where you have to recognize that you may be the negative person. You're out of the situation, but you're the negative person. People can't help you. And there are people that give up trying to help you because you're so negative. Everything that comes out of your mouth, you wonder why. See. But a lot of times you're talking your way right into your own depression and anxiety. You won't even talk yourself out of it. You got to have a vision. You got to see where you're going. You got to, come on, somebody. I know that sounded really, really churchy, but come on, somebody. You got to be able to see yourself out of the situation. You can't even see yourself out of the situation. So if you can't see yourself out of the situation, how are you ever going to get out of the situation? Can you see yourself free from this person? Some people are like, I can't see myself free from this person. Then you won't be free from that person. I used to see myself free from this person. I used to envision myself what it would be like without being with this narcissist. What would it be like if I was divorced from this narcissist? What would life be like? And I started envisioning the peace and quiet because he had a mouth on him. He just talk. And I hate to say it, most of us women, we're talkers. We talk a lot. But then, and most men are not super duper talkers, but there are some. Not all of them are narcissists, but this one in particular had very feminine traits. And when I say feminine traits, everything that you would assume a woman would do, he was doing it. Everything, the attitude, the mood swings, the talking, made you question, like, dang, who's the wife in the situation, me or you? But listen, and they're so negative, and you have adopted that language. You have learned helplessness. You have learned optimism. You have been in a situation so long, you can't no longer see the silver lining around the cloud. You don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You don't see any relief no time soon. And for some of you, it may be that you just didn't have enough information. You just weren't connected to the right people. But ladies and gentlemen, you still have to do the work. Another person cannot do the work for you. And some people, I hate to say it, are lazy. And when I say lazy, you are lazy when it comes to your recovery. You are lazy when it comes to your escape. You are lazy when it comes to working. How do I get better? I want the confidence that you have. That takes work. That takes work. You have to go find self-help groups. You got to find support system. You got to get to therapy. And sometimes you don't want to get to the therapist that just skims the surface and won't hit deep places. You want the therapist that'll make you mad every now and then. I don't want to come back to you. And then you come back. You want that coach that doesn't have a problem just telling you the truth about yourself. And when you get an attitude and have a temper tantrum, they're just staring at you. All right, well, I'll talk to you next week. All right, well, I'll talk to you when you make another appointment. You want that one that does not get moved by your emotions. But some of you guys, you got to watch your mouth. Your mouth is your greatest weapon. You are so negative that people don't want to be around you. People don't want to talk to you because there's nothing positive coming out of your mouth. You've got to speak to those things that are not as though they were. You've got to see yourself out of the situation. When you're building a business, that's what visionaries are. Visionaries have a vision. They see what they're going to do. They see the vision of the project. Matter of fact, there's an apartment complex right here. Look at that apartment complex right there. This big old giant apartment complex. Somebody had a vision. And so when they had a vision, they put it on paper. They put it on a blueprint. And they put it on a blueprint because they saw it in their head, and then they drew the picture on a blueprint. And then they got other people involved, the contractors involved to build. Now we're looking at what was in their head. We're looking at the vision that they had. It started off as a thought. It started off as a vision. It doesn't matter if you can't figure out how to get it together. You have to have the vision that I'm going to get out of this. And you got to tell yourself. That is self-talk. That is daily affirmation. You have to tell yourself every day, I'm getting out of this situation. I don't know how yet. I'm gonna meet the right person. I'm getting out of this situation. I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna have my own business. I'm gonna have my own house. That's how I got my house. I started speaking it into existence with because I'm a believer now. So I spoke what was not seen into existence. I will have my own property. I will get out of this situation. And I did.